Hi everyone and welcome along to another edition of the Celtic View Podcast. I'm Ryan Maher and in this week's episode we're joined by the Celtic women's manager Fran Alonso. And Fran, we've got plenty to discuss because it was a very good weekend for Celtic and it's a very exciting week coming ahead. Obviously that 4-0 game against Rangers got all the headlines on Saturday. It was an amazing afternoon at Celtic Park. Fran, just first of all, what did you make of all the action on Saturday? How did you take it all in?
Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, at the start, both teams were a little bit, testing each other. But then when Celtic start out of the first gear, it was for me it was one team. They were outstanding, especially the counter-pressing. They didn't allow any time on the ball to Rangers, and then the creativity going forward was fantastic. So. Yeah, obviously I was the game and I was delighted, absolutely delighted. Brilliant game.
Yeah, I was absolutely delighted as well. Celtic Park was absolutely rocking on Saturday. It was amazing. Just wanted to run through some of the fan reactions. We asked you to get your reactions through on Twitter. We had Michael Casey, who just said Matt O'Reilly was phenomenal, which I think we can all agree with. And we had at MRK67 who said, the fact that players can be swapped in and out of Angie's system without the team missing a beat is simply amazing. 2 forced substitutions and we didn't stop pushing, continuing to dominate the game from start to finish. Our depth and quality are frightening. Bring on the Champions League. I think both of those are very fair comments, Fran. Obviously the game started a minute into it, Kyogo goes off injured, Giakoumakis comes on, but the strength of depth at the moment is incredible in the Celtic team, isn't it?
I think that's the main difference between last year and this year. Last year, obviously, when a couple of injuries came, then maybe some players weren't at the level that the players injured. But this year, Ange can rotate, which is very important in a Champions League season. It's a lot of games, a lot of top games, and you need quality from the bench. And yeah, I mean, I was gutted when I saw Kyogo going out, and then Giakoumakis had a great game and a massive influence in the final score. So yeah, very delighted for Ange and for Celtic, but this is very, very good that you can rely on players from the bench and the quality don't drop. Everyone play at the same. Some players got slightly different attributes, but they all add to the team and they all know each other. And yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting and fantastic game on Tuesday. I can't wait.
I know. The team at the moment are just so dominant. We obviously saw the 9 goals scored last weekend against Dundee United, another 4 against Rangers. They don't take their foot off the pedal. What is it about this team that you see, maybe is it from a coaching point of view, that makes the team so dominant?
For me, there are 2 main aspects. I see, obviously I'm not inside, I see from outside, I don't see them train. Unfortunately, we train at the same time, but I see a team united, and that's for me is very important. I see a team that they all know how we play, they all play off each other, and I can see great unity. I can see players coming off from the bench and off the bench, and I see the interaction between them with the manager. I see a team that are like a family, and that's for me is the most important thing in football. And then tactically, obviously, I think they are super. They are well prepared. They have great levels of intensity and energy. I think last year some games that we won, at the end you could see the fitness level dropping a little bit, which is normal. It's the first season of a new playing style. But this year I can see the team finish strong. So yeah, I'm delighted for them, and yeah, I think it's going to be a fantastic season.
I think the 2 main buzzwords at the moment are intensity and relentlessness, and you saw that in the goals as well that we scored, where getting throw-ins where the opposition are maybe turning their backs, complaining to the referee, the ball straight in and the ball's in the back of the net. Like that intensity is such a crucial part of this team.
Yeah, that's nothing to do with the fitness levels, it's to do with concentration levels. The quick restarts. I mean, I remember the cup against Hibs. The goals from quick restarts, that's players that are switched on, the ball goes off, ball boys play a part, they are almost like the 12 players, you feed the ball, feed quickly, the opposition are switched off, and when you have long possessions and the opposition have to defend, ball goes off and then straight away you put it on, it's like, you don't have, at times you don't have time to think, and I think Celtic are great at it. I put a lot of emphasis with the women team in the same. I think it's very, very important because it's a transitional moment from a set play, which is a throw-in. It's a transitional moment, and if you switch off, like happened with Celtic, they punish you. I was so happy to see these quick restarts, and I think Celtic has scored already a few goals last year and this year because of quick restarts.
I do wonder if Ange has the ball boys and ball girls up at Lennoxtown getting them training. In terms of the goal scorers, Abada got 2. It seems to be such a trademark of his now, of getting into that back post, and you see those finishes so often from him. How impressed are you with someone that's only 20 years old, the number of goals he scores, and the way that he always manages to do it?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I couldn't fault any single player that are there. I think everyone got a top mark in terms of intensity, in terms of work rate, and then of course the quality they got. Obviously, they repeat passes in one side of the pitch, and then the opposite side of the pitch is normally 1v1 or sometimes 1v0. So, and he was sharp enough to read these situations, and he got 2 well-deserved goals. In the other side, for me, right now is the best player in the league, which is Jota, which is in an unbelievable form, and you need to double up. So by doubling up in Jota's side, the opposite side is always gonna be maybe 1v1, maybe 1v0. So that's good for Abala or whoever played there.
I think I've watched Jota's goal maybe over 100 times since Saturday. I mean, I think that's a goal that we're just always going to look back on in those derby matches as being such a significant goal, one that brings back so many memories. I mean, the skill level to stretch, to reach the ball, to have the pace, to have the poise, to dink it. And my favourite part about the goal is that he's actually turned away and is celebrating before the ball's in the back of the net. He just knew that ball was going in. I mean, he's such a special player, such a special goal as well. Yeah, especially when he's high in confidence like he's now. He's unplayable. He's really an unplayable player. The timing of the run was great. Live, I thought he was offside, but then I think he timed it just perfectly. It was just onside, perfect timing. And then obviously the finishing, even if the angle wasn't the best, but the finishing is top quality. And as you say, he knew where it was going and was celebrating. And then iconic celebration that now all the fans are excited about. So I wonder if there's a backstory to that. It was I don't know where it's come from, but it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was absolutely brilliant. Do you think that is a significant result in the course of the season, or I know like Jota was asked about it after the match and he was telling people just to chill, it's only 6 games in, but is that significant, do you think?
I think the league is very long, then it will be the split and they will have to play again. I think it's too early to celebrate, but what it is, right now the morale levels of one team and the other are big different. Before the game it was only 1 point, both teams did well in Europe, both in the group stages, so the morale levels were high, but that was a very dominant display. I thought, it was only one team. It's not. I am biased, but I think anyone, even Rangers fan, will recognize that they have a very, very poor game. The difference between teams was huge, and I think that will give them morale. And previous to that, you got a result against a team that last year did superb, and it's not a normal result. So that's a team that is flying. It's a team that is very high in confidence, and it's a team that is, they don't score in one way. They can hurt you in, they can hurt you from outside, they can hurt you with quick combination, they can shoot from side, they can set plays. I mean, they are a very complete team. So for me, obviously, they are the favorites, but we are the favorites, I should say. But still too early. So I would agree with Jota and say, game by game. Calm down, game by game, carry on doing what you are doing, and we will be fine. Yeah,
that is always a message in the camp, and the next game is a very exciting one. We're going into it in very, very good form, Real Madrid. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, but first of all, why don't we sit back and enjoy the highlights of that Celtic 4, Rangers 0. Yes, so now it's on to Tuesday night, the return of the Champions League to Celtic Park for the first time in 5 years, and what better way to mark it than by having Real Madrid in town. Fran, you're a Madrid boy, you're a childhood Real Madrid fan, everybody's excited. You must be extremely excited as well to see your boyhood team coming to Celtic Park. We'll touch on that in a minute, but just first of all, what is your expectations for the game on Tuesday? How much are you looking forward to it?
I can't wait. I literally can't wait. I'm counting the hours. It's very exciting for me, especially. Obviously, is the two teams I love, and you know, facing each other in the best competition in the world. So I cannot get any more excited. In both teams in great form. Real Madrid got 100% record in the league as well. I managed to watch all the games that Celtic played this season and all the games that Real Madrid played this season. And I think both teams are flying, so it's going to be a terrific game. I think the atmosphere is going to play a huge part. So, you know, I think Celtic fans could be this 12 man that Celtic need to try to get a result and hopefully even try to get the win.
Yeah, so then tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with the club. You were born and raised in Madrid. It was Real Madrid from day one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. My dad said, you know, you can be whatever you want when you are old or whatever. Well, the only thing you cannot be is any other than Real Madrid fan. So that was non-negotiable. So yeah, no, I used to go to the stadium. Obviously support. I was crazy. My room was full of posters of Real Madrid players, especially Emilio Butragueño. I'm too old, so probably most of the people listening to this won't know who he is. But yeah, that was my team. I was so passionate. I will never miss a game, either on the stadium or on TV. Never miss a game. 2 days before the game, I was already just thinking about the game. I was always a football obsessed. My mom told me when I was 6 years old, my sister will sleep with a toy and I will sleep with a football. so yeah, I was obsessed since kid. So yeah, big passion. But you know, last time I saw Real Madrid live, it was probably 10 years ago. So I haven't seen them live for ages. Obviously, I've been for a long time working in professional football, so you know, we always play at the same time that they play. I never had the opportunity. I just see them in TV. But yeah, a very special moment. But you know, obviously we are here in Glasgow, and you know, I will be a Celtic supporter for the day. That if you are watching, just stop the TV for a second.
We'll make sure that this can't go out in Spain, so you can't see that. So you can actually return home in one piece. You've not been to see them live for 10 years, but I'm sure you'll be watching them at most weeks, Real Madrid. So in terms of the threat, I think everybody knows how strong Real Madrid are. They're the current European champions. Is there anything about their game and about Real Madrid, though, where you think that Celtic can get at them? Do you think we could make it difficult for them?
Yeah, so the first thing and the most important thing is going to be the atmosphere. You know, I think Celtic Park is intimidating for opponents. I experienced that myself last year in the 3-0 against Rangers. I couldn't believe. I went home and my ear, I got the beep in the ears. It was so loud, it was so noisy, it was so beautiful, everyone together. And that's intimidating for players on the pitch. It's really intimidating. Of course, Real Madrid is not a team that get intimidated easy. You know, they won the Champions League 14 times, and if they got something that, good about them or very good about them is their mental strength and their belief. Last year you saw especially against the English teams, apart from the final against Liverpool, but they always came back in games that they were lost. They were really lost. PSG as well, the game was lost, and they managed in 10 minutes to score 3 goals. And I mean, that's incredible. But this is because they believe. That's what any Real Madrid player, even from the academy, when you go there, that's what you learn. You learn to win overall. Win is the most important thing, and they are winners. They are winners. Every year is a slightly different playing style depending on the manager. It's not like other clubs like Barcelona. They play that way. Real Madrid can change with Mourinho, a little bit more counter-attacking team at times. With Ancelotti, a little bit more. They are happy, for example, to defend in own half. Very well organized. With Zidane was a little bit more attacking side. It depends, but one thing in common: winning. But I think so. One thing is the atmosphere at Celtic Park. And the other thing, it could be, for me, it could be the right, tactically the right side of Real Madrid, left side of Celtic if Jota is playing and if he's in this form. I think, you know, whoever play, if he's Lucas Vázquez or Carvajal, I think that's, in my opinion, the weakness of Real Madrid. That's a way Celtic could exploit. I think left side depend, if he's Mendy, physically very strong, not the best on the ball, so again, It depends on what Ancelotti is going to decide to do, if they are going to press. At times Real Madrid struggles when press, but if they break the pressing, if you press and they break the pressing, you don't stop Vinicius, Rodrigo, even Benzema coming short in positions that centre-backs are not used to. It's very difficult if they break the pressing, so I don't know what Ange is thinking about. I'm sure he will come with a game plan that is going to be great for Celtic, but for me, the right side of Real Madrid is the main weakness.
And Jota is a player that has experience playing in Spain as well against Real Madrid, so maybe that's something that could come into it in the game if he's playing. In terms of Real Madrid's sort of star players, I think again we all know who they all are. You talked about sort of Vinicius, Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Karim Benzema though. I mean, he had the season of his life last year. He started off in incredible form again this year. How much of a threat and a danger is he? Probably that is such a stupid question, really, because we all know. But in terms of when he's playing against Celtic on Tuesday night, what's his sort of main danger? What's the challenge with playing against him?
I mean, I have to say the last two games he hasn't been at his best. The previous one against Espanyol, he wasn't at his best, but he still scored 2 goals, so he doesn't need to be at his best to score. He's a great player, but he's not in the form that he was last year. The problem is the areas. Benzema take areas that centre-backs are not comfortable go, and if they go, then you are in trouble, because then the players super fast like Rodrigo, Vinicius, whoever play, even Valverde sometimes play wide, they make the run inside, and there is only one centre-back. And then now you got players like Tchouaméni, who has come instead of Casemiro, in my opinion, already so much better than Casemiro, technically, physically, strong in the air, but with great vision. Against Espanyol, it was actually that, Benzema coming short, centre-back leaving the space, and run inside from Vinicius, one-touch finish from the pass. So it's very difficult to defend against that, because he will come, and if you don't follow, he will turn and he create things. Obviously, they are world-class players, but I believe Ange is going to come with a plan that is going to get us a result.
Yeah, I mean, Real Madrid have started this season 4 games, 4 wins as well. One thing though is that they have conceded a goal in each game that they have played. So do you think that Celtic can get at them, and do you think we do have a chance of getting a goal and maybe getting the result in this match?
I do. The reason, in my opinion, is obviously they got from the back line. They just brought Rudiger. Alaba has been either playing centre back or playing left back. Lucas Vázquez is never a right back. He was always a winger. It was just reconverted into right back. He's fast, but maybe 1v1 defending is not his main skill. And then obviously Courtois is in good form. He's a great goalkeeper. But I think the connection between the back line is not yet fully developed. It's been a lot of changes in terms of. In the last 4 games, I don't think he picked the same back 4 twice in a row. So yeah, I think that's a weakness definitely, because for the dominant performance they had, they should not concede it. Espanyol, I think, create 2 chances and score 1 goal, and the last game again, I think they concede 2-3 chances and score and concede 1 goal. So yeah, definitely that's something that Celtic could exploit.
Yeah, and Celtic at the moment are showing a real clinical edge in front of goal as well, so hopefully that's something that comes into fruition on Tuesday night. I cannot wait, honestly. I mean, just the start to the season so far, the way that we've been playing, it just builds the excitement. And coming into the office today and we're all going, we can beat them, we can actually beat them, and you're thinking to yourself, is that false confidence? But there is a confidence at the moment about this team. And just the return of the Champions League nights, I mean, it's just, there's nothing like it at all. So it's going to be so special on Tuesday night. Really can't wait for it. Just to get a little bit more insight into the Real Madrid camp, earlier on today, I caught up with Spanish football journalist Alvaro Romeo to discuss all things Real Madrid. Yes, everyone, we're joined by Spanish football journalist now, Alvaro Romeo, to look ahead to this really exciting fixture here at Celtic Park between Celtic and Real Madrid. Alvaro, thank you so much for joining us. There's a lot of excitement here at Celtic about this match. How is the excitement in Real Madrid for this one?
Well, I think Real Madrid is happy to be again playing Champions League football, their favorite competition. And traveling to Scotland is kind of exciting for Real Madrid as well. They haven't played against Celtic for a long time. They played the friendly in 2012, I remember, but they haven't played against them. I don't remember when was it.
1980.
Yeah, well, there you go. So yeah, I think it's a good time for Real Madrid and a good time to travel to Scotland, actually. Maybe it's not too cold yet. And at the same time, you know, it's a great place to start the Champions League campaign, right? Because you know that over there the support is going to be big. Glasgow is a football city as well, and I think that the atmosphere is going to haunt Real Madrid. And last season sometimes they started slowly in the Champions League. They lost against Sheriff at home, but if you play against Celtic away from home for the first game in the first game of the Champions League, I think that you have to be sharp from the very beginning. So I think that it's good for Real Madrid to play at Glasgow, really.
Yeah, there is so much made here about the atmosphere of European nights at Celtic Park and what that can do for Celtic. But Real Madrid are a team that are 14-time European champions. They've played in these big, massive environments around the world. Do you think that's something that will faze them at all, or will they be quite used to coming into this type of environment?
No, not really. I think that Real Madrid knows how to cope with all this. And, some of the players they've got, they are so experienced as well. But it's not only the individuals, it's just when you put on Real Madrid's shirt, I think that you know that that shirt comes with a massive responsibility, and the players get imbued by that. Not only because they know that at Real Madrid losing is not acceptable, but also because, it's the way the club treats the competition. I mean, no club has been more comfortable playing Champions League football than Real Madrid over the last 10 years. So, no, I think that they will be delighted to play against Celtic Glasgow, but I don't think that the atmosphere is going to scare them. Let's put it that way. No, I really don't think so.
Yeah. In terms of Real Madrid's start to this season, it's 4 games, it's 4 wins. Is everything as positive as it seems on paper, or what are Real Madrid looking like at this moment in time?
I think that they haven't been perfect, but they weren't perfect last season either. And despite all that, they ended up winning the double, right? The Champions League and La Liga. The truth is that Real Madrid is a side that sometimes they may have some dips in their focus during the game, but then when they turn up, they get the job done. And this is very characteristic of them. I don't think that any team in Europe can do that. Real Madrid is the kind of team that they can not do full 90 good minutes, and yet they end up beating you. And in La Liga, they have proven that. For example, against Almeria in the opening game of the season, I think that Almeria was as good as Real Madrid for a part of the game. Against Celta, same thing happened. The other day against Betis, by the way, Betis was topping the table with Real Madrid. Betis at some point looked like a side that could snatch a point or 3 from Santiago Bernabeu, and didn't happen. So I think Real Madrid is having this season their usual competitive edge. They have changed a little bit in the sense that Casemiro left and they got themselves Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni is a player with a bigger engine probably that Casemiro. He can add a lot more physicality and definitely more of a box-to-box, skill to Real Madrid. And I think that the team is looking good so far. The only caveat for Real Madrid is that if Karim Benzema picks an injury this season, it may not look well for them because they don't have a deputy number 9 for Karim Benzema. But other than that, otherwise, really, Real Madrid looks set to compete again.
Yeah, one thing from Real Madrid's opening 4 matches is that they have conceded a goal in each of them, which I suppose from a Celtic point of view, you will look at and think we're playing incredibly well at the moment, scoring a lot of goals. So do you think that there are areas of this Real Madrid team that Celtic can try and pinpoint to hurt and try and get a result?
Of course, they have been vulnerable because, as I said, sometimes they seem to lose a little bit the concentration. They have been incapable so far of doing full 90 good minutes. They have played well some spells of the game, but some others, they've been a little bit more greyish. But at the same time, this is a side that has won 5 games this season, the European Super Cup and then 4 games in La Liga. So they mean business. And yes, you are right. They have conceded in every game of La Liga. But when it comes to the big games, Real Madrid tends to focus a bit more. And I think that this makes them very special. They've got the individuals to defend well with Carvajal, Rudiger, Mendy, Alaba, Militao, you name them. And it's just a matter of them making sure that they turn up for the big occasion. And I think that playing at Glasgow against Celtic is a big occasion. So I think that there is a chance that Real Madrid defends way better this time than they have defended in La Liga, at least in August.
Yeah, we all know the big threats are Vinicius Junior and Karim Benzema, who were both so exceptional last season in that Champions League campaign. How have both of those players started this season?
They started well. I think that they started basically where they left off in late May last season, just winning the Champions League, winning La Liga. Benzema, he's scoring goals. He is not having maybe the 1 goal per game ratio yet, but I think that he can get there. Obviously, he is a 35 years old player, 34 to 35 years old player, and he might need some more games just to get 100% physically. But Vinicius has started really, really well. I mean, he storms off on the pitch. He breaks into the games. He is so wild. His wilderness destroys the fullbacks as well. And Vinicius' youth and his perseverance and his wilderness, because he's wild. I mean, he's causing chaos in La Liga. I think that, with Vinicius, we have to definitely break the cliche or demolish it. Vinicius is not just a young, promising player. No, he's a reality. He's only 21, 22, yes, but he is up there with the best, definitely. And he has started the season fantastically, to the point that it doesn't matter who the third one who plays with them is, because Vinicius and Benzema are so self-sufficient, autonomous, that it doesn't matter who plays alongside them. Asensio sometimes, Rodrigo sometimes, Fede Valverde some other times. Well, Vinicius and Benzema are doing the job on their own.
Yeah, we all watched Real Madrid win that Champions League trophy last season for the 14th time. We saw their ability in those knockout stage matches to, even when it looked like they were the favourites to go out, they always find a way as well. Is that something that's still inbuilt in this Real Madrid team, that they have that never say die attitude, that even if things are maybe not going their way at Celtic Park, they'll always believe?
Look, I think that they are not the best side in Europe. I mean, they are the Champions League winners, yes, but I think that Manchester City right now is a better side than Real Madrid. But last season, for example, Manchester City at Santiago Bernabeu played the extra time and they were gone completely. They were mentally gone, because Real Madrid had scored 2 goals in the aggregate time of the second half in the second leg. And then the extra time, Manchester City, they just couldn't cope with it. They just couldn't cope with it because it was too much for them. I don't think that happens to Real Madrid. If any attribute has to be underlined, is that Real Madrid never gives up, and also they don't break down mentally. And I think that this is a very useful skill when it comes to the big moments. And also there is another thing that we shouldn't overlook. Real Madrid is a team with many specialists. Luka Modric, he's a great ball passer. Toni Kroos, same thing. Karim Benzema, he's over there to score the goal with punctuality. Vinicius, a winger. We have seen wingers like Vinicius in Brazil for the last 70 years, starting by Garrincha. So they've got these super quality players that they know how to do something very well. They are specialists in their crafts. They don't have any hybrid player apart from maybe David Alaba, who can play in many positions. But, Real Madrid has these players who can do this right thing very well in the right time. And that made the difference in the Champions League last season. For example, when Chelsea got a 3-0 away lead at Santiago Bernabeu, suddenly Luka Modric and Rodrigo appeared to do what had to be done to score at least 1 goal. And, this defines very well Real Madrid. I think that they have all their players, they are masters of their craft in something. And in the Champions League last season, that made a difference, yeah.
Yeah. So finally, Alvaro, if for Celtic's opportunities, we're kind of looking at some stats. Carlo Ancelotti has been here 3 times before as a manager. He has never won. Celtic have never lost to the reigning European champions in the Champions League when they've come to Celtic Park. Trying to look for other little things, where you talked about the game against Sheriff last year. Do Celtic have a chance against Real Madrid on Tuesday night?
I think it's going to be difficult, really. I mean, I know, guys, that you are the Scottish champions. Callum McGregor is there, and he's doing right? He's doing well. Then I don't know if Aaron Moy is making a difference in midfield so far, but I remember that he was very good for Huddersfield, not so good for Brighton and Hove Albion. You you can defend your own case. I mean, you are not a bad side.
I always will defend our case, yeah.
Yeah, no, and rightly so. Do it, really, because Celtic is a very attractive team right now. And there is a chance, of course, because Real Madrid can slack off a little bit. And we have seen it in the group stage of the Champions League over the last couple of years. 2 years ago, they struggled to go through in a group with Inter, Gladbach, and Shakhtar Donetsk. Last year, they lost against Sheriff Tiraspol at home, even though they shouldn't have lost it because they were very good at Santiago Bernabeu, but they just couldn't score. So, these things happen. Look at yourself in the mirror of Sheriff Tiraspol. They beat Real Madrid last season at Santiago Bernabeu. I don't mean with this that Celtic is the same level as Sheriff. Not at all. Celtic is better. But, Real Madrid also drops points, especially in the group stage of the Champions League. They have done it. They haven't been perfect or spotless in the Champions League in the group stage over the last couple of years. So why not to think that you can get something out of them?
Good, Alvaro. Well, thank you very, very much for joining us. We're all really looking forward to it here at Celtic Park. It's going to be an amazing night no matter what happens. And yeah, thank you so much for giving us that insight into Real Madrid.
It's been a pleasure, really.
And we're finally here. Champions League journey begins with the visit of Real Madrid. How proud are you that the team has made it?
Yeah, super proud. It's where we want to be, and obviously it's a reward for a fantastic season last year and a massive effort from everyone at the football club. And the reward and the challenge now is to test ourselves against the very best, and we've got that first up, so it's brilliant. Yeah, European champions are the visitors. How much do you believe your team can test them? Well, I mean, that's what we're going to find out, and I think the key for us is just to be ourselves, play our football, and measure ourselves against the very best. I think you can miss these opportunities by sort of going in there and maybe trying to limit what you do because of the opposition, and that's not the approach we've taken so far, and it won't be against the very best. Yeah, what is your thinking? Because many people have suggested that Celtic need to completely change their outlook, completely change their tactics just because it is Real Madrid. What do you say to them? Well, I mean, there is some logic behind that, I guess, because they measure up against who you're playing, but it's not what's got us to this point. And what's really important to me is that we continue down this road and become the best football team we can, playing our style of football. And if we fall short at any stage, we'll fall short, being who we are and trying to get up and improve ourselves. No point changing our approach now, because I think the players and everyone has sort of really bought into what we're trying to do, and there's no greater stage to test that on than against the best. We come into this game off the back of a fantastic derby win. In terms of how the boys are, how are they looking? Is everyone fit and ready to go? Yeah, all good. We obviously came out with a couple of injuries. Carl Starfelt with his knee, and that'll keep him out of Tuesday, probably a couple of weeks for him. Kjorg got a little bit more promising. He trained with the boys today, and he's really keen to be involved. So we'll see how he sort of settles down. I mean, it's a massively important game, but we're only sort of 7 or 8 games into a 50-odd game season, so we just got to be careful about how we use the boys. But the rest of them all pulled up well, as you can imagine. As you said, it was a great performance on the weekend, and they've trained really well. When I spoke to you just after the draw, you said, let's not forget there are 3 games still to go and you want to build up some momentum and have that. Would you say that's a case of job done? Yeah, and I think the reason it is job done is because we did just that. We never looked beyond what was the next challenge, and whether it was Dundee United or even the Ross County game. I think people were a little bit dismissive of it because we had such 2 big games coming after, but we had a real good focus and the team played well that night. And all those kind of things help you build belief and, as you said, momentum, because you don't want to go into these games, uncertain about how your form is. And what we know is that, our form's really good. We're getting stronger each week, and that gives us sort of, real confidence leading into the game. We can see the European trophy behind you. It's the only club in Scotland that has that in the trophy cabinet. It means that you're playing against the best. How much are you looking forward to coming up against Carlo Ancelotti? Yeah, look, it's great. I mean, it's why we all sort of love the game and the opportunities that sometimes get presented to you. And I'm very fortunate that I'm manager of a football club that gives me that platform. And look, I'm just going to enjoy the whole experience tomorrow night from, as a person who's grown up loving this game and sort of knowing the significance of the competition we're in. But then beyond that, it's a game. It's a game to be won, and our focus will be on trying to win it.
Just finally, Ange, the fans have been celebrating since Saturday. They can't wait for the game. They will provide the atmosphere. How much of a difference can they make on the night?
Oh, massively so. You know, I know that, you know, any team that plays here, irrespective of the size or stature, they leave knowing they've been part of something special, and that's because of the atmosphere created by our supporters. And you know, I think they've really got behind this team over the last sort of 12, 14 months, and there's a real connection between this group of players and the fans, and you know, we go out there as one, and they play a massive role in sort of the kind of football we want to play and the kind of team we want to be, and I'm sure they'll play a part tomorrow night.
McCluskey followed up, and that's Celtic 1-up. Tremendous.
The Celtic B-side were not in action this weekend, but they too have a very interesting tie as they also play Real Madrid on Tuesday in the UEFA Youth League with a 3 PM kickoff at the Excelsior Stadium in Airdrie, with tickets still available, which would be great if you can get along to that and support the young hoops. Fran, you know a little bit about the Real Madrid youth team that are going to be coming over, so can you explain a little bit about what kind of threat they'll be to the Celtic team and what you can maybe expect?
Yeah, I mean, there are a good team. Obviously, they are called La Fábrica, and I think it's one of the best players formation setups in the country. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Every single club in the Spanish league got at least one player who has been formed in La Fábrica. So yeah, they are a great setup. They are managed by former Real Madrid legend Raúl. You know, as a kind of formation to one day maybe be the first team.
So that was Zidane, didn't we?
Yeah, first team manager. So that was the plan, and yeah, you know, it looks like they are very disciplined. Raúl got them, like, you know, he's very disciplined. He's not anymore, you know, he's a very they were very hard, and they got a lot of talent. Obviously, financially, it's a strong team, so they are able to recruit some of the best players in the country. And it would be again very similar to the first team game. It would be a very tough game. You know, a great opportunity for to feel early and you know, try to support the young hoops. But yeah, another exciting game. It's great that you know, experience for the B team to actually be able to compete in Europe. That's fantastic. To develop players, you know, that's what you want. You want them to face. You want them to face the best young players in the world. Yeah,
it's going to be a brilliant test for them, just to see what level they are at this moment in time, and to see maybe areas of improvement if they want to get to that level and get to the first team. It's going to be really exciting. Last week I caught up with coach Darren O'Day, and also earlier on Monday Steve McManus spoke to the press to preview that match. So let's hear from both of them now. Darren, we're approaching a very exciting period of time for the football club, and the Bees are very much part of that at the moment with their participation in the UEFA Youth League. How excited are you about the prospect of the challenge that awaits the young boys?
Very excited, and most importantly, the players are very excited. I think at a club like Celtic, domestic football is always your bread and butter and what you want to be on top of. But ultimately the barometer is probably in Europe, and certainly at the level we're at in the B team, we look for performances, we look for individuals developing. What better way to mark yourself against the best teams in Europe? So the staff are certainly looking forward to it, but most importantly the players are, and we're looking forward to seeing how they get on, and we've full belief they'll do well.
The Youth League mirrors the first team, so first up for you is Real Madrid on Tuesday. What sort of challenges do you expect the team to face in that game that they won't face in the normal Lowland League campaign?
Truthfully, the biggest thing that the message to the players will be is zero apprehension. So we have a way that we have worked since day one of pre-season. The players have bought into it 100%. They've applied themselves every day to it. It's obviously hopefully a mirror image of what the first team are doing. But naturally, when you come to what are perceived bigger games, you can tense up, you can second guess yourself. So all we'll ask of the players is to have zero apprehension, believe in what we've done from day one and go for it. So I think that's probably going to be the biggest challenge, and that's easier said than done. But as I said, we have full belief in the reason we have this style from the managers. We think if we perform to our highest level, we'll be tough to stop. So zero apprehension is the message.
In that game against Real Madrid, it will be a 3 p.m. kickoff at the Excelsior Stadium at Airdrie. So an earlier time than the game for the first team. So that's a real great opportunity for fans to come out and cheer on the boys. How important can a big crowd for that game be for these players' development?
In all honesty, it's huge. Again, we talk about it. We have a set way of playing, of training. And I actually spoke about last year, part of being in the Lowland League was when you step out of academy football into competitive football, the external things in the game become an issue for players. Or sorry, when I say an issue, the experience of it is vital. So playing with no people watching is completely different than thousands of people watching. So it affects your emotion in the game. So the more fans we can have, the more we can replicate what the first team go through, the better for the players' experience and development. So I fully understand Celtic fans follow the first team everywhere around the world, phenomenal support, but if they had the chance to get down to support our young players, it would be very much appreciated.
Well, all the best for the game when it does come around, Dan. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Just gives an idea, Stephen, how excited you are for this fixture to get the campaign underway. It's obviously, there's no bigger test really than Real Madrid coming to town. How excited are you by that?
Yeah, listen, at this level, it's all about the players. Like I say, it's a terrific experience for the young lads who are this season. They're playing a lot of games, so to be playing in a UEFA Youth League is terrific, especially at such a crucial age in their development. You never really get the chance to play against top level European opposition at this age group. So by the first team qualifying for the Champions League, it gives our boys an opportunity to see where they're at and test themselves against some of the best teams in Europe.
Real Madrid are obviously past winners of the Youth League as well,
yep.
And they've got a pathway. A lot of their academy boys have gone on to make that step into the first team as well. I mean,
yeah.
Is this the sort of barometer for your boys to see what the sort of level is?
Listen, with the games that we've got this year, there's different challenges, and part of our job as coaches is to try and give the players as much experience so that it prepares them for first team environment whenever that opportunity comes. And like I said, there's no a better test than to play against the biggest teams in Europe. So it gives us an opportunity as a staff and as a group and players to see where the lads are at in their development at this stage in their career, because ultimately their goal's not to highlight their career to play in the UEFA Youth League. Their objective is to play in the Champions League, or it should be when you represent our football club. The goal is to play in the big tournament and be a Callum McGregor, be a James Forrest. So for this stage of the career, it's going to be a valuable experience for them.
What's the mood in the camp been like this week heading up to the game?
It's been great. The boys are full of confidence. Like I said, they're young lads, so they're full of life, they're full of enthusiasm. And like I said, our job is to try and guide them along this path. And when you're a young player that's developing their career, it's important that they're going to have ups and downs, but just now we almost need to calm them down with the opportunity to play against Real Madrid. And like I say, in the UEFA Youth League, it's a fantastic opportunity for our young lads. And again, it's something that they'll need to play with calmness. They'll need to enjoy the occasion. But it's important in big games that you keep a level head and you stay as cool as you possibly can.
And what's the messaging been from the coaching staff down to the players ahead of the match?
Just the exact same as what it has been all season, to be honest. Like I said, we try and play a certain way. Nothing will change from how because it's a big game, we don't change on how we plan for games. We're
we're leading into games never ever changes. We'll be consistent no matter who it is that we're playing against. So we've faced some really good sides in the Lowland League this year. We're now going to face some top opposition in the UEFA Youth League. So the way that we train, the way that we will prepare for this match is no different from what we have throughout.
How does the experience or the emotion compare for you just now coaching a team going up against elite competition as opposed to captaining the first team?
I think the biggest difference, Derek, is when you become a coach, it's all about the players. You've had your time as a player. You have some wonderful experience, times that you'll remember for the rest of your life. But now I take as much passion working with young players on a daily basis. It was the same with the first team last year. The next best thing about when you retire from playing is being on the grass and coaching every day. It's something that I've loved doing for a long period of time, and the group of boys that we're working with just now on a daily basis are a brilliant bunch of boys to work with. They're full of energy, they're full of life, they're full of information, and they're desperate to learn and they're desperate to be top players. And our job is just to give them the best possible chance to then succeed. So everything that we do, it's always about the players' development, and they're the most important people. So tomorrow our job is to support them in whatever way that we can. It's going to be a massive occasion for them, and quite rightly so. But like I said, hopefully this is just the beginning of a lot of big important European nights that they'll experience within their career.
That night against AC Milan obviously was remarkable in so many ways, and Celtic were underdogs that night.
Yep.
Would the message to the boys you're coaching ahead of tomorrow night, it'll probably be the biggest game of their career so far, is it believe?
You know, in big games, Derek, when you're a young player, you've not really got the coping mechanisms that if things don't go well, what do you do? And that comes from experience. So like I said, it's our job to try and educate them, stay calm, stay composed, trust what they've did every single day since they've reported back from pre-season. They're full of confidence and full of belief. That's the one thing that I will say when you work with young players is they think everything's going to be like this forever. So it's going to be a massive learning curve for them, but we certainly believe that we can go and win the game. We know how difficult an opposition Real Madrid will be, but I've no doubt that we can cause them problems. We've got some very, very good players, very good professionals, with a lot of very good attributes within the group. So the boys have certainly got nothing to fear, and the experiences that they gained playing in the Lowland League last year will stand them in good stead as well.
So, Fran, since we've got you on, we need to talk about the women's team. Things are going pretty well for you at the moment in the start of this SWPL 1 campaign. Just talk to us about the start to the season so far and how things have been going.
It's been fantastic, to be fair. It's been fantastic. It was a very challenging pre-season because of the international duties of some of our players. So we didn't have the whole team together until a couple of weeks before the league started. The league started against Hibernians, which was probably one of the worst opponents we can face for game one, in terms of they just became full-time professionals, and we were a little bit unlucky with the draw, but we prepared very well for it. We worked very, very hard. I think this year we increased our level of load, increase our volume in the players, and our level of intensity a little bit, just a tiny bit from last year. And I think obviously the start of the league was fantastic. I mean, we never beat Hibs 9-0 before. It was incredible. What a game! Obviously they have some players that start that game that they came late. I think they trained like a week or 2 weeks or something like that. So you could see it's a team that is not connected yet because they didn't have the time. But even though it wasn't about them, it was about us and our intensity, our connections. Again, the quick restarts, we were fantastic. For 90 minutes full concentration, and then a result that is history. So delighted. And from there, it's been strength to strength. Obviously 4 games is 100% record, and the most important thing for me is we haven't conceded a goal yet. So far, yesterday we play a friendly, and we won 11-0 against a team that we normally the games are so much closer. So yeah, we are flying. So it's important. It's important that we keep humble. We keep working hard. We haven't won anything yet, and we go game by game, and we make sure the next game we play at the same levels. We try to focus on the performance rather than in the result. but we also try not to concede. It's one of the goals we put this year, try to keep as many clean sheets as possible, and we are very focused on that. So the way we do the transitions is very important, and the girls are focusing on that, and I think so far they're doing fantastic.
Because there was a lot of change in the summer with players departing and players coming in as well, so I suppose there may have been some questions externally about whether the group would be as strong as last season where we won 2 trophies, or could be stronger. At this moment in time, obviously things seem to be going pretty well. The group seems to be in a really good position. Do you feel the squad are in a stronger place compared to last year?
I mean, yes. Last year we also played Hibs in the same, I think it was in fixture 2 or something like that. So very, very early doors, and we won 2-1, but we scored a goal in the 93rd or 94th minute. So it was a very, very even game with a little bit more domination, and this year it was like, we were so much better than they were. So I think we have a stronger squad, pretty much like Ange. If I bring players from the bench, there is no different. Yesterday, for example, that game 11-0 was without our internationals that are all representing their countries. So it's a very, very strong squad. And for me, yeah, we lost some key players, especially, we lost 40 goals in only one player. But so far, obviously, we have to do the same work that we did with Charlie now with Clarissa. But so far, in 4 games, Clarissa's goal record is so far is better, even better than Charlie was. So yeah, for me, it's all about the environment. It's about the high performance environment. And I know any player that we put here, of course, it's a very detailed recruitment process that we don't have a scouting department. As coaches do the scouting, we actually watch the games, we talk about the players and how we can see them fit within the fundamentals for each position. And then obviously about try to develop the player individually. Clarissa last year I think started 19 games from 40, so less than 50% of the games she started for the team, but she kept working hard. So I knew the potential was there, and it will take time. A player coming from Canada then going to Iceland, it will take time to develop. And this year, obviously, after a year with us, now she's starting to see what we saw at the beginning, and now obviously she's been called up by Canada, which is
incredible.
Yeah. So
Olympic champions, aren't they?
Yeah, Olympic champions and one of the best teams in the world. And she actually had her debut. She came from the bench. So that's why I'm a manager. That's what I love to see. That's the most rewarding thing. It means as much as win games. See players that they never represent the country before. It happened to Lisa Robertson. It happened to Kelly Clark. It happened to other players in the team that they just have their first call-up while being with us. Well before maybe they were never considered, so that made me very, very proud, and that also make the players believe in what we are doing, so they totally buy into the way we train, into the way we play, and that's why they are flying so far this year. So
yeah,
hopefully we carry on like that.
I mean, last season was so impressive, winning both domestic cups, really sort of breaking down some barriers for the team, because it's been such a long time since we'd won silverware as a football club. Going into this season then, are the expectations different compared to last year? Is there now more expectation that we need to go and challenge for the league title, or what are you saying to the girls in the group?
Yeah, I mean, for me it's very important. It would be unfair. We never won the league before. Like last year, we never won the Scottish Cup before. It's important that we don't put unrealistic targets. If I say to the girls, we must win the league, well, we never won it before. That pressure that they don't deserve, because we never done it. We first have to win it, and then, yeah, you can talk about can we retain it, but we never won it. So for me, the only important thing is the next game. That's it. We haven't talked about, we need to win these trophies, that trophy. If we focus on every single game, and we play every single game like it's the last game of the season, and every single player play the game like it's the last game they are going to play for Celtic, and they want to leave this memory on the fans, then I think we are going to have a very successful season. Obviously, the first 2 years we managed to make history in both. First qualification for Champions League, first double, first Scottish Cup. So there are 3 huge achievements that, if I am honest, when I first signed, I thought they will come, but not so early. Mm-hmm. So I'm absolutely delighted. I'm proud of everyone who has supported me from up, from board, from head of the women football, from 8, and obviously down all the players, well, not down at my level with all the players staff. So that's achievement together, but I didn't think it would come so early. This year we got the opportunity because the team is very strong. So we got the opportunity to make history again. How we are going to make this history, we will see. But I got very good feeling that this team is gonna again, once again, for third year in a row, make history in some type of form.
Brilliant. I love that positivity. That's great. I mean, this weekend, as you mentioned, it was international break, so you didn't have a competitive match. Next weekend is back to league action away to Dundee United. What do you expect from that fixture, and are you feeling sort of confident with the group, and obviously having the friendly at the weekend there, feeling confident going into that game?
I feel very confident because I see the girls doing the right things every day. I see the intensity and the quality of training better than ever before. Obviously we have a better caliber of players overall, like it's a very, very strong squad. If you see the last 4 games, some of our unused players that didn't even come onto the pitch, they could be, last year they could be in the starting 11 every game. So it's a much better squad overall. Obviously we lost some key players that we would have liked to have retained. We let go others that we didn't think they would contribute, but overall it's a stronger squad. So I feel very confident because I see this in training, and so far in games we have put the performance. We haven't been perfect every game. Some games, for 45 minutes maybe we haven't been at our best, so we address it, but then always has been a change. When we address at halftime, the girls came with different intensity, different attitude, or we correct tactical. So the girls are really, really buying into what we are doing. The group think that we are very, very strong. They believe it, and when you believe something and you work so hard, you have really no limits. So yeah, I am very confident. Of course, Dundee is a good team. They came up, so it's a new division for them. They didn't have a great game from the 4. One of the games, obviously, they conceded a lot of goals, so I don't know how the confident levels will be. But yeah, it's a home ground. At their home ground, they will have a lot of fans, and they will try to put pressure, and they will try to make things difficult for us. So it's about, can we impose our game, and then obviously if the guys keep doing what we're doing, I'm confident that we can get the win.
Yeah, looking back to the first team as well, after we get Real Madrid out the way on Tuesday, it's at home to Livingston on Saturday in the league. The team at the moment, though, they seem to just be taking each game as it comes. A lot of people always talk about having to go from those big European nights back to league action, but really with this team, I don't think that's going to be an issue, is it, Fran?
I don't think it's going to be. I think regardless of the result, and if he does a squad rotation, when the game against Livingston in front again of the Celtic fans, that's an opportunity for some players to earn a spot for the following game. So nobody's going to relax. Whether he use many players for both games or whether he rotate a little bit the squad for freshness, whoever come, they are going to fight for the spot, especially when it's a big squad and a top quality squad. Everyone is fighting for a place, not only for Celtic to win points, but for their own place, which they should be, that make each other better. So I don't think there is going to be any relaxation. And for me, for the last year, I haven't seen many signs of relaxation for the following game, regardless of the previous game. So I don't think that's going to be the case, and I think they're going to have another great game against Livingston.
Yeah, because the squad at the moment is so big, there is so much quality, and we even saw that against Ross County away last week in the League Cup, where the manager has that ability to make 9 changes. And we actually got potentially an even better performance than we did against Ross County in the second league match of the season. So he's got that strength and depth, he's got that ability to rotate. So I think again it should be one of those games where we're going into it full of confidence, and hopefully we have a result to celebrate on Tuesday night as well. Just to finish off on that, we need to leave the last word to the Real Madrid game. Can Celtic get a result against Real Madrid, Fran?
Yes, they can. The only thing is they have to be at their best. It have to be. They cannot make mistakes because Celtic will be punished. But if Celtic is at their best, with the help of the fans, very intimidating stadium for the opponents, I think Celtic can get the best from Real Madrid. Last year, first Champions League game, Real Madrid lost against Sheriff. Totally shocked in Europe, but they lost. One of the reasons is because first stages of the Champions League, Real Madrid has won 14 Champions Leagues and has been in the last, I don't know how many, quarterfinals. So the first game of the Champions League is something that they are too used to. Ancelotti will try, of course, that there is no relaxation, that there is no overconfidence, that they are desperate to get the points. But last year, I guess it was the same, and they lost against a team that is nowhere near Celtic level. So of course, Celtic can. It's going to be a fantastic game, and if Celtic is at our best, I call minimum a draw, but hopefully a win for Celtic.
Yep, and 2 stats that I like as well. Carlo Ancelotti has been here 3 times as a manager, never won. The reigning European champions coming to Celtic Park have never won as well. So I'm confident we're going to do it. I'm saying it. We're winning the game and we're going to get 3 points, and it's going to be an amazing night at Celtic Park. So
let's hope so.
Let's hope so. Fran, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. All the best for the rest of the season with the women's side. Things are going very well at the moment, so very exciting to see how that develops. And thank you very much for joining us as well and for listening to the podcast. And again, let's just leave the last word to the Champions League. As we close out, let's look back on some of Celtic's best nights in Europe. But for now, it's bye from me and bye from Fran.
There's Johnson with it, he's done it! It's another brilliant free kick. Parkhead responds as only Parkhead can. This is Tony Watt. He's done it. This is the stuff of legend. At the age of just 18, Tony Watt takes his place in Celtic folklore.